This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network and the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and we're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and reaching worldwide with our affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, the Caribbean, South America, the Pacific Rim, Australia, Asia, India, Africa, and Europe. If you'd like to give us a call, toll free 1-800-610-7035, email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is Friar Justin Belitz, I believe. He is a Franciscan friar, and he is also the gentleman and founder of the Franciscan Hermitage in Indianapolis. And joining us now is Friar Justin, who wants me to call him Justin. Justin, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Justin.
Well, I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, and our family was a musical one. My father, who never took a music lesson in his life and could not read, had his own band, and so we were involved in music from the time we could start talking. We were taught how to sing, and we had a little vaudeville show, and we used to perform in Omaha when Johnny Carson was just getting started. Do you know Johnny Carson?
I certainly do, and here's Johnny.
He had a half-hour magic show. We had a half-hour vaudeville show, and sometimes they would hire the two of us back-to-back for an hour's presentation, for PTA groups or for banquets or something. But I always knew from the time I was 5 years old that my vocation was to be a Franciscan friar and a priest. And so I really didn't have any awareness or any desire to go into entertainment full-time, although that training has helped me tremendously in my work now. But I went on after high school into our seminary just outside of Chicago and studied for 10 years with a major in philosophy, minor in psychology, and then theology. And then after that, I went to Cleveland and got my undergraduate work in music completed at Cleveland Institute of Music, and then on to Case Western Reserve for a master's in music, and I taught for 15 years.
My goodness.
And while I was teaching high school, I was teaching a religion class, and at that time the kids were not interested in anything attached to organized religion and did not want to use the term God. And I'm in a religion class.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to figure out a way in which I could help these youngsters to understand how they could, in fact, take control of their life.
Justin, you and I have to take a commercial break. Please stand by. X-Zone Nation. Friar Justin is our very special guest this hour. www.frjustin-hermitage.org. That's frjustin-hermitage.org. And Justin and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X-Zone continues, right here on the Talkstar Radio Network and the X-Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away.
Made love in the sun, but I ran This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Friar Justin is our special guest, X-Zone Nation, and before we went to the commercial break, Justin, you were telling us that here you were teaching a religious class in a high school, and the kids in your class didn't want to talk about God. So how did you turn this around?
So, well, I drew from my own personal experience, but at that time I had friends who were in management and in sales, and they were telling me how important it is that I use the language that the youngsters would understand. And so I got rid of the theological language and started to talk about life in as practical a way as I could. And instead of talking about God's will, I spoke about personal goals. And instead of talking about faith, I talked about positive attitudes. And the course became so popular that the youngsters were sharing it with their parents, and the parents came and wanted to have an adult education class. And so I started that, and in a couple of years I had to rent a nearby auditorium, and my classes got to be as large as like 300 at a time.
Wow.
And then someone from my class who was a publisher said, you really need to write a book. And that took me into an international conference, and then my material started to get published in Europe, and then I was invited to Australia. And so, my ministry has become international. And it's all just very, very practical approaches to how to make choices of goals and attitudes so that you can create a satisfying life. That's what the whole first book is all about. But when I got finished with that, the whole point is, how do you control the choices you make? And that's what led me into meditation, altered states of consciousness, the mystical tradition, and the paranormal and parapsychology. And I have been in that ever since. And I know that there is an unlimited potential within every human being. In theology, we call that energy God. In scientific language, we talk about universal intelligence or cosmic energy, whatever you want to call it, but it's there. And by our intention, using our mind along with the brain, we can activate that energy, and we can produce anything. And when I go into the scripture side, I tell people, Jesus said the kingdom of God is here at hand. It is within. And so that's basically what I do. My expertise is in spirituality and in meditation.
Justin, I loved one sentence in the information you sent us. You said, I seek to create a bridge between theology and science with practical application for daily living. Why is it, in your opinion, sir, at this very moment in time, people are searching questions outside of the realm of established theology, and they're looking to the paranormal for answers?
Well, I'll tell you, organized religion is crumbling to pieces. And, it's a patriarchal model that came into existence with Constantine in 313.
Yes.
And the patriarchal model is what Jesus said specifically we should not have. He said, you see how the pagans lord it over one another? He said, it cannot be that way with you. And then he spoke about servant leadership and equality for everybody. And we have had, in organized religion across the board, 1,700 years of patriarchy. But our entire society is moving into what we call creation spirituality, where it's not a pyramid where somebody at the top tells you down below what to do, but everyone is on an equal basis. And you help one another in this life journey. So it becomes a servant leadership model. Anyone who is in a position of authority is to be a servant. And so I think that young people today, and I think our general population, have moved away from organized religion because of that patriarchal model, and are interested in getting into the universal intelligence that we can connect with within each person.
Would it also be fair to say, Justin, that established theologies and established religion hasn't kept up with the progression of time.
Oh, always. Science is always ahead of theology. Let me just give you an example.
Sure.
In the Old Testament, the cosmology identifies the earth as being flat and supported by pillars. This is in Genesis. And there's water underneath the earth, and that water goes above the earth. So in order to keep the water above the earth from falling down on the earth, there is a firmament, a dome that keeps the water up above. And God lives above that in the heavens. And then God is the person who opens the little holes in the firmament and allows the rain to come down. Now, that's a very primitive cosmology. But the people who were writing in those days didn't know anything else.
That's
except
right.
their experience. Okay. So now, the scientists are very clear. There's a big bang. 13.7 billion years ago. And that explosion has caused the entire cosmos. And that movement of creativity is continuing to expand our universe. But what we have to do is to change our approach to how we image God. God is not power outside of the system, imposing something on the system. With the Big Bang, you've got to have God in absolutely everything. There's not we used to talk about the space being vacuum. It's not. It's an unlimited sea of potentiality, and that's coming from quantum physics. So we're going to have to change the way we think about God and the way we talk about God. And, of course, that's causing a real challenge and a rift between people who want to stay comfortable in traditional religion and then all of a sudden are being told it's not that way.
Well, isn't there room in traditional religion to change and to come up to the present times? Because if you look at reading Genesis and where it says, "And God said, let us create man in our image, our likeness," doesn't that give God the very structure that we were talking about, where he is part of everything?
Yes, absolutely. But, if you get into a fundamentalist thought process, you'll have people saying that, they image God as a human being who takes clay and makes a model of Adam and then breathes the life principle into Adam. All of that is metaphorical because, the spirit world is infinite.
That's right.
So there's no language that is going to be adequate. And that's why in the Catholic Church, the Vatican Council said 50 years ago, we don't have all the truth. And so John the 23rd, who was a pastor, he was really a servant, he is the one who said, we have to give away what truth we have, but he also said, we have to be open to the way that truth is being expressed in all these other traditions because they can help us to get a broader perspective. And that's why the council was called an ecumenical council, because there were religions from all over the world that were part of that gathering in Rome. And so that was the beginning of massive change in the Catholic Church. And of course, that's moving into organized religion across the board.
Do you think, Justin, that we are in the end times as depicted in the Bible and the book of Revelations?
No, I don't. Everything depends on where your belief structure is.
Right.
But Jesus said, nobody knows, and he said if they tell you, look to the east or to the west, or watch out from the north or to the south, because this is happening. If they tell you that, he said, don't believe them. And, the message of Jesus is not built on fear. It's built on love.
Yeah.
And so, anybody who would, in my estimation, start using the scriptures to generate fear, they don't understand the message of the gospel.
And yet there are those religious organizations who use fear as control over their congregation.
Oh, absolutely. And to me, that's one of the travesties of religion. When I was teaching high school, so many of the parents would come and they would complain about the fact that their kids are not picking up responsibility and they're not maturing. And I would ask them, well, how was it when you were in high school? Well, as soon as we got out of high school, we had to go to work. And I said, well, why don't you let your kids do that? Oh, they said, well, we don't want them to go through the difficulty we had. So they make it easy, okay?
Justin, stand by, my friend. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
Friar Justin is our very special guest, Exo Nation. www.frjustin-hermitage.org. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue live from the X Zone. Don't go away.
It was a terrifying experience.
I thought we was going to go to jail for murder.
That day, we were a little behind, so we worked until it was starting to get dark.
We loaded up the equipment and hadn't driven very far when we caught glimmers of this glow coming through the trees. I urged Mike to hurry up and get up there.
Travis had the door open before we even stopped. As he got closer, I heard the sound.
One of the guys said, "You feel that?"
I really panicked then.
I told him, get the hell out of here.
It didn't come directly to me, it came to a deputy sheriff.
Three of us volunteered right away to tell him what had happened.
Sheriff Gillespie definitely didn't believe it.
He says that we better be certain because we get in a lot of trouble.
When we went to search the next day, they split us up, and the whole time the deputies asked me, if you just tell us where the body is, we can all go home and get this over with.
We're talking about 100 people combing through the wooded area. Nothing turns up.
All week long, I've been hearing they're going to set it up to make you guys look guilty.
We're a rough-looking bunch then. Some of us have been in trouble with the law before.
And y'all ain't never going to come out of that jailhouse.
We couldn't get out.
I tried to sneak out the back door the day of the polygraph test. I was scared to death.
On top of that, you have media.
I literally would be on 2 telephones at the same time.
We've even got some coops in here now that's coming in and out to see the freak show, as they call it.
Everyone descends.
I just wasn't going to stand there and listen to it anymore.
Granny says, this is Travis. I'm back. I need help. When I did hear that he had been returned, it was almost as unbelievable as the original thing.
I just looked at my mom and says, I told you we didn't kill him.
Travis Walton reappeared after several days with a bizarre story about a ride in an unidentified flying object.
People were desperate to explain it away.
Why are you sticking up with Travis for all this time? You know this really didn't happen.
What happened to Travis after we took off in that truck, I can't tell you.
I hated Travis for a long time after this. My whole world just tore up.
But I believe every word Travis said about it. He's never lied to me about nothing.
It's a net negative. We lost our jobs in the immediate aftermath.
And now you're not able to talk about it with anyone because you know that they're going to laugh at you, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
But if you don't come out and tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you.
There's a degree of responsibility, but certainly I have to accept the bad. If I can direct what's happened in a way that I can make something good happen in the world, I'm looking for it.
Order your copy of Travis, The True Story of Travis Walton, today at www.traviswaltonthemovie.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Friar Justin is our special guest, www.frjustin-hermitage.org. And Friar Justin is a Roman Catholic priest and Franciscan friar. His degrees are in philosophy, theology, psycho-orientology, which is meditation, administration. He is the founding director of the Franciscan Hermitage, a life center based in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're so happy that you're with us today, Justin. It's a great pleasure talking to you. Before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about, parents talking to you about the students and how the parents don't want the children to go through the same learning curves that they did.
Right. Well, one of the things that I pointed out to them is I said, this is my interpretation, my belief structure. You don't have to take it. But I said, I really believe that if parents are doing a good job, then their goal is to become obsolete. And they look at me, And I say, well, if you're really doing a good job, you teach your youngsters how to get out on their own.
Exactly.
Now, the scientists are telling us that the age of maturity in the United States is somewhere between 14 and 40. And people are keeping their youngsters. They're paying for their high school. They pay for their college. They pay for their university. They continue to live at home. I'm thinking to myself, this is not the way it's supposed to be. No. That's my opinion.
Well, I happen to agree with you, Justin. We have 6 children. None of them live at home now. They were all taught how to be responsible, honest, hardworking citizens.
Yes.
And we quite enjoy not having the kids at home anymore.
Well, Rob, I think that approach, in my estimation, should be applied to any organized religion.
Mm-hmm.
I think the job of organized religion is to become obsolete. Help people to build a spirituality that is meaningful for them, and to find a place where they can get the support for that kind of spirituality so they can continue to grow wherever they get led by the Spirit. And I think that we really have to look again at organized religion, not in terms of theology, but in terms of spirituality.
Well, isn't organized religion these days, Justin, and please, I hope you don't take this the wrong way, more or less a business, the Pope being the chairman, the Pope being the CEO, the cardinals being on the board of directors, the parishioners and those who put the tithings into the collection pot each and every Sunday or Saturday or whenever the Spirit moves them, the shareholders.
Yeah. Well, when people ask me what the difference between spirituality and religion is, I tell them, well, I think that spirituality is your connection to God.
Right.
Religion is big business.
Isn't that the truth?
Now, you would expect that in religion you would have spirituality, but that's not always the case. But what is, I think, so wonderful is if people are not being fed in one congregation, they're feeling free to move elsewhere, to find a place where they can be fed.
That's right.
I go into all kinds of churches. I've been into Unity, I've been into Methodist churches, I've been into Jewish synagogues, as well as Catholic churches. But I work out of convention centers and hotels and so on.
Right.
And if I am in a non-Catholic church, one of the first questions I ask is, how many recovering Catholics are there in the audience? They put their hands up. I put my hand up.
Oh, heavens. You're going to get on the Cardinals' hit list.
Well, the thing is that, my roots are in the Catholic Church.
Right.
But my spirituality is way beyond that. And so I feel very free to go into any avenue of interest for me where I can understand a little bit more about the way life goes, about my own person, about my personal growth. And that's what I teach to people who come into my classes to do.
I was wondering, Justin, if you could explain for our listeners who may have heard me calling you Friar, the difference between a friar and a priest, and exactly what the Franciscan order is.
Oh, okay. Well, we had a huge celebration last year. We are 800 years old.
My heavens.
Sound good, don't I, for 800 years?
Well, you certainly do. You look pretty good, too. In fact, you look a little bit like Lloyd Bridges in the picture I've got.
I get Kirk Douglas a lot. Anyway, St. Francis never bought into the patriarchal model. So the Franciscan order was started by Francis, but he never intended an order. He simply gave up a very, very affluent life because his father was a very wealthy man. And he was led to simply go to the poor and to the ordinary people and to tell them about God's love. So he really was very simply an itinerant preacher. And basically that's what I do. I move around and I teach and I preach.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners will know that St. Francis of Assisi is also the patron saint of animals.
Yes, and of ecology.
And of ecology. I didn't know that.
And, in our order, we do not have patriarchal structures. For example, in our province, when every year the province calls a meeting of all the friars in the province, and it is that body that decides what our priorities are going to be and what the direction of the province will be. And then after that, we elect our provincial and his staff, and then we give them the agenda. So they truly become servants of ours.
So you've got your own little organization that that was supposed to be the model for the United States of America, for the people by the people, except with your organization, it's for the friars by the friars.
That's right. But our structures call everybody to accountability. For example, we have a board of fraternal relations. That is a standing committee. It's there all the time. Even if the provincial is abusing one of the friars or is being unjust, that friar can call the provincial to that committee and call him to accountability. If you go into the diocesan structures, where you have a bishop,
yes,
and he's over all of the priests and all the people in the diocese.
Yes.
If that bishop does something that is immoral or something that is inappropriate, there's no way you can call that person to accountability. There are no structures. And as you know, in the past, when some of these bishops have been responsible for moving some of these pedophile priests, around their diocese.
Yes.
They don't get punished or called to accountability. They get promoted to Rome.
Now that sends a very wrong message.
Tell me about it. And there's a great deal of unrest within the Catholic Church about the structures that we have, which simply do not reflect the ideal that Jesus gave us. And the council was this huge point of beginning a movement to get back to the spirituality of Jesus, and that's what we're doing. And we have lay groups like Call to Action or Voice of the Faithful and Future Church. These are all lay groups that are doing a fantastic job from the bottom up, doing renewal. I have no doubt it's going to happen. It's just going to take a while.
I have a hypothetical question for you, Justin. And this is not a question I would ask everybody.
Yes.
What do you think Jesus would say if he was to come back to earth this very day? And if he took a look at the church and what it is today compared to what he wanted it to be?
Well, listen, let me just tell you this. Just the other day, one of our constituents made a trip to the Holy Land and just was appalled at all the fighting that's going on among all those religious groups that are in the holy city.
Yes.
And this person said to me, Father, if Jesus came down here, he would blow the whole place up and tell him go home. Another person said, God made a mistake. He sent the earthquake to South America. Should have sent it to the Middle East. And it's true.
Yeah.
Jesus was constantly telling us God is within. Where's the holy place? Where you are planting your feet. That's right. Holy ground. You don't have to go to I lived in the Holy Land for some time.
What was that like?
Well, it was a very interesting experience, but I would never want to live there permanently. You know, in the Holy Sepulchre, you know, the church, there are 5 Christian religions that are fighting with each other over the space they use. But that's just the Christians. You know, you have the Christians who are fighting the Jews, and the Jews are divided between the Hasidim and the Zionists, and then you've got the Arabs who are divided between the Christians and the Muslims. Everybody is fighting everybody else.
Why can't we get along? Why can't one religious philosophy get along with another religious philosophy?
Rob, I think that answer is so simple. When organized religion gets so taken up with theology that they forget about spirituality,
yes,
then it's more important to be right than to love. And what we've got to do is get back to what Jesus talked about. Jesus didn't start an organization. He started a movement.
Yeah.
And the message is very clear. Love everybody. Well, if you go to all the major religions on the planet, you will find that the mystical tradition, they all say the same thing. Our purpose here is to love, and meditation is the means by which we do that. It's very simple. But when you move into theology can be very divisive, because they say, you have to say it this way. And another group says, no, you have to say it this way. And see, if you don't say it that way, then you're a heretic, and that gives us the right to attack you, which is stupid.
It certainly is.
In my estimation.
Yeah, and mine as well. So now we're both on the papal hit list. There you go. By the way, you know, thank you very much for sending me a copy of the Franciscan Hermitage Messenger for spring-summer 2010. And you know what I loved about this, the newsletter? On page number 3, it says, the Hermitage still has needs. We need help marketing our publication and or programs on the internet. A long-range and challenging project is to take down the fireplace and chimney in the backyard and use the bricks to construct a labyrinth in the back lawn.
Yes.
Now, cleaning. Would you like to adopt a room, clean a chandelier, clean a carpet? Would you like to adopt a garden or be part of a yard committee? Now, you know, if this was from a Catholic church, and please, I don't mean to be critical of any church here, you wouldn't see this because it would be coming out of the tithing pot.
Yeah.
You know, and why doesn't the Catholic Church and all the other established religions sell off their property, just liquidate and help the people on this planet that money would so desperately help?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why we have to have this renewal. You know, Rob, I have a dear friend of mine who is a MD and a psychiatrist, and he lost his faith when he went to Rome and saw the Pope living in a palace and all this grandeur.
I don't blame him.
And then when he came into my classes and we got into meditation and into spirituality, he really understood the essence of the Catholic Church.
All right, let's talk about the essence. Let's talk about that when we come back from this commercial break.
Yeah, okay.
Friar Justin is our special guest. What a great guy. www.frjustin-hermitage.org. We'll be back on the other side of this break, unless the Cardinals get me. I'll go ahead.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. Welcome back, everyone. Friar Justin is our special guest. His website is www.frjustin-hermitage.org, and Friar Justin is going to be joining us in a couple of weeks. He's going to be telling us about the books that are available, and we'll continue this very interesting conversation with the good Friar. Once again, his website is www.frjustin-hermitage.org. First of all, Justin, great having you with us. I love your honesty and your openness, but I also love the message that you're getting across to people. We need to love, and it's a very simple message.
And you know, Rob, that's one of the wonderful things about being in the Franciscan order. You know, Francis, the spirituality of Francis was every human being is individual. Mm-hmm. They're all unique. And Francis wanted to preserve that uniqueness. So the challenge we have in the order is living with all this diversity, but in unity. That's the very challenge that our world has today. And so, you know, we've made it over the last 800 years. And so the ideals and the systems that we have created work. So I think that, you know, because I am in this kind of a system, I get support from my superiors. And I get support from the Brotherhood. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that is so wonderful. And it's like, you know, family. Now, I think that's what our world needs. We don't need the patriarchal structures with somebody at the top going to tell you how to do it. It's got to start from the grassroots level, and that's exactly where I work, and I'm trying to help people to understand that they can be free, and I give them the tools that they can use to actually get that experience.
Justin, it's been great having you with us. Let our listeners know how they can find out more about you, as well as the many books that you have available.
Well, our website, of course, carries everything, and our latest newsletter is up there. And as you mentioned, it's just simply www.frjustin-hermitage.org. Or, you know, they can call our office anytime. And our number is area code 317-545-0742. And we can send out all kinds of information.
Well, that's great, Justin. I'll make sure that we put the telephone number up with the website on the archives tonight. And I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Justin.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's been a real pleasure.
My pleasure, sir. X Zone Nation, Friar Justin, www.frjustin-hermitage.org, and the telephone number is 317-545-0742. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break at 6.5 minutes past the hour as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away.